Hello and welcome to Small Business 21st Century and today's segment of Build Your Difference. I'm your host, Pierre Walters, and I have a special guest for you today. She is one of the co-founders of Sage Solutions GTM LLC, as well as a producer of our show, Tia Young. Tia, welcome to the show today. I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
I
didn't have any trouble getting here. Traffic was fine today.
Good. And
So
Tia, you and I are always having discussions behind the scenes, a variety of topics that we can cover on the show. But one thing that kind of comes up frequently is some of the tech troubles that both you and I experience just when we're on the computer, when we're running our businesses. And I thought, my goodness, wouldn't it be great if we sat down and talked about some of that today on air? Because I think other people might be having similar concerns or similar, issues. So we have some really interesting questions, and I know you came today with some of those questions to share.
Yes.
So I'd like to ask you, what are some of the questions that you see coming up from entrepreneurs and small business owners who might be experiencing issues with the technology in their lives?
And Pierre, it's not only the people that have been writing in, it's me as well. So I'm very interested to learn today as well, because that is one of my weaknesses is the technology part. Our first question, what are the most common tech issues new e-commerce businesses face, and how can they be avoided?
Yeah, what are the common tech issues that new e-commerce
businesses face?
Okay, yeah, I would say primarily it's got to be getting a good website up and running that can handle that commerce. I have been to a few of my associates. They have their own online businesses on their websites, and I remember one of my good friends, I went to their website to purchase some products, and the system on their website wouldn't let me actually complete the transaction without first signing in to their website. So I had to sign into their website first, which I didn't know I had to do, in order to buy some of the products that they had on their website. But once I signed in, there was a glitch of some kind that actually made the shipping, and we're talking about a product. What was it? I think it was a shea butter, a shea butter product, a small bottle of shea butter. The product itself had a price of like between $5 to $10, but when I put it in the cart, the shipping was $800.
What?
$800 to ship this product from an address in DC, which is where it's manufactured, to my address in Maryland. Now, that's ridiculous.
Scary.
That's ridiculous. And so I reached out and I said, hey, what's going on? Why is the site charging me $800? She said, it's a glitch. I said, oh boy, it's a glitch. This is the problem. The problem is that so many small business owners have websites that, for one reason or another, might not be functioning correctly or might have glitches. And you get little things like this, where a customer is trying to make a purchase and they're getting an erroneous shipping charge. So I would say for people who have e-commerce businesses, the real challenge is getting on a good platform that is going to make sure that customers have a simple experience locating the products that they want to buy, putting those products into the cart, getting the correct and accurate shipping, and then being able to process that transaction and then get a copy of their receipt. These are what you would think to be simple things, but that's because so many of us are making our purchases on big sites like Amazon or big retail sites like Target or Walmart, and they've got this all figured out. But when you're a small business owner and you're trying to build that for yourself, it can be difficult to get that functioning correctly. So
you said a key word. You said when you're trying to build it yourself.
Yeah.
So are you meaning that somebody like me who almost knows nothing would try to get a book and figure out how to put it instead of going to someone who, has a knowledge of how to do that?
There's a lot of us who are, DIYers, do-it-yourselfers, and so you might get a book, you might go on YouTube and look for a solution. Now the problem with getting a book, especially when it's something related to building out an e-commerce website, is that the technology updates so quickly, and a lot of times the books, they're already in print, so they're not as up to date.
Right.
But going on YouTube and searching for solutions there, I think is a great resource. But also, if you have access to a consultant or an advisor who can help point you in the right direction before you actually start doing the work, I think that would save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of heartache.
Right. Okay, our next question. How important is it to have a user-friendly website for my online store? And what key features should I prioritize?
Great question. How important is it for you to have a user-friendly website for your online store? And what are the key features? That's the question. I would say it is as important as the products themselves on your website, because if those products are important, it is just as important to make sure people can find, locate, and buy those products. If they don't know how to get to your website, if they can't navigate your website, if your website's too complicated, then it doesn't matter how good the products are, because they can't get it.
Right.
They can't figure out how to use it. They can't figure out how to buy. That is something that we struggled with a lot with Brand Desk, is trying to figure out how to make it user friendly. There's so many things on Brand Desk, and I to be honest with you, I still don't think we've totally got it where it needs to be.
Right.
But we're getting better. We're getting better, and so I would say one of the most important features. We built this on our website, and I would say anybody else who has a shopping experience on their website should consider this as well, and that would be a good search feature.
A good search feature.
Right.
Okay.
The ability for someone to come to your website, type in what they're looking for, literally type it into a search bar, and get some search results. Because
I see what you're saying.
Because we are so used to Google.
Right.
We're so used to, nowadays there's AI. We're so used to that convenience that the thought of needing to actually click around to find something is actually becoming outdated. So if you've got an e-commerce website, you got to make sure that you've got a search function on there so that people can type in the name of a product and easily find it. I would say that's probably the most important feature to make sure that your website has.
You mentioned AI. That's another subject all by itself that you need to do, because, tons of people do not understand AI, and I'm one of them. So our next question, can you recommend any affordable tools or platforms for managing inventory and sales tracking?
That is a really good question, and the truth is that I can't make a fair recommendation because I'm biased. I've got our platform, and so I can't really make a recommendation. But what I can say is that it is really easy to just compare and contrast. It really is. There are popular platforms like Shopify, like Squarespace, like GoDaddy, Wix, many other very popular platforms where they are designed to make it quick and easy, albeit expensive, for you to get on and start selling your products. But there are challenges with that approach. Oftentimes they're very complicated. Oftentimes, if you're like me, you're a business owner. You are about your services and your products, and you don't have the time and energy to learn all these little details with these platforms that change constantly. That is its own full-time job. It really is.
Right.
And you might not really be suited for the dedicating all that's required to really
Right.
figure that out.
That's true.
So you might want to look for other, rather than platforms, I might say advisors or consultants or people who can assist you with navigating
Right.
that.
So if I were going to the Yellow Pages, because what you just said, I wouldn't have a clue where to start. So
Yeah.
if I went to the Yellow Pages, can you give me some terms that I should look? What is it? IT or consultants or what?
Yeah.
How would I go about finding?
It used to be IT.
Okay.
It used to be. It
Okay.
used to be.
Okay.
You would go and you would look for an IT consultant.
Okay.
But the thing is that what we're really talking about now is we're actually talking about your brand. An IT consultant, because when websites were a little more complicated and not as I would say fully integrated in terms of getting set up, you really did need to have an IT professional to come help you literally set up that hardware, and then in many cases even help you to program and code a website.
Wow.
But nowadays we have dedicated platforms, we have dedicated brands that really do make it easier. The internet is for most of us it's a utility. It's just as much a utility as electricity, or water. So it's not so much about having an IT professional come to set up that infrastructure, but rather finding a business consultant or a brand consultant who can help you to build the right kind of website that you can then easily manage yourself and feel comfortable with doing so. So
manage myself.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, the reason we don't want to do that initially is because it has been historically so complicated.
Yeah. And the time.
Correct.
If you're a small business, you're wearing a ton of hats.
You are, and believe me, I know, and I know you know.
Yeah, I do.
and we don't want to put another hat on.
Yeah.
But what we also don't want to do is we don't want technology to progress so far that we haven't kept up with it, that we're not as aware as we actually really could be.
Right.
And the gap between what we're willing to know versus what we might need to know, that gap is going to be filled by, whether it's an IT professional or a consultant, and then that's going to cost. So, my strategy is, hey, you know what, work with a consultant who can help to get this built the right way up front.
Mm-hmm.
and maybe provide you with some very easy instructions on how you can manage that moving forward, or a quick phone number you can call when you need help.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take a quick break. I think that was a great question, Tia, and there's so many more questions that we're going to cover about tech troubles, tech issues. More when we come back with my special guest, producer of our show, Tia Young. Stay with us.
That's good.
Trying to straighten your teeth yourself can cause serious damage and tooth loss. Moving teeth is a healthcare procedure that needs the supervision of an orthodontist. These are experts in moving teeth and aligning jaws. For more, visit mylifemysmile.org.
And welcome back. You are watching Small Business 21st Century, and today's segment of Build Your Difference with my special guest, the co-founder of Sage Solutions GTM LLC and producer of this show, Tia Young. Tia, prior to the break, we were talking about tech troubles.
Yes.
And we were really going in on some of the popular questions that you've received from our viewers.
Right.
What are some other questions that you might have received related to tech challenges?
Well, here is a really good one. How do I choose the right payment processing system for my online business? What factors should I consider?
Ooh, that's
That's a good
That
question.
is a good question. Oh man, there is a lot to consider there. So when we're talking about a payment processor, you have popular options like PayPal, Stripe, Square. But then there's also options like cash, just doing cash payments, doing invoice payments. I know some websites prefer for you to submit a sort of order form, and then they send you an invoice. I've seen some websites still request that you send them a check in the mail. They send you an invoice and you send them a check, or call in and give your credit card number over the phone, which are all valid. It's all valid. But
Right.
I think the thing to consider when I'm talking to my clients, I usually ask, how quickly do you need the funds? How quickly do you need those funds? Because some processors have a processing time. So when the customer makes the payment, there's actually a gap of time before that payment hits your bank account. I know for Stripe, that could be anywhere from 3 to 5 days. I know for Square, it could be anywhere from 2 to 3 days. And I know for PayPal, it's instant.
It's instant.
It's instant.
It's instant.
It's instant. It gets into that PayPal account instantly, and then from there you can spend that money to fulfill the order. So I typically will say, how quickly do you need those funds? Because the thing is, if you need the funds, if you're doing on-demand orders and you need those funds present so that you can then fulfill that order, then you're probably going to want to go with PayPal, because when that customer makes the payment, that money's in the account and you can use that money to go and fulfill the order. But if you don't, then you don't need to, you can pay a little less in terms of the processing fee, and you can go with something like Stripe or something like Square, which does have a little bit more of a delay when it comes to the processing time, but you're not going to be charged as much.
Okay.
You get more of the money that the customer paid.
Right. If you can wait a little longer.
If you can wait a little longer,
Yeah.
So it's a good question. Generally speaking, and this is not an endorsement, but generally speaking, there are pros to PayPal specifically that I have not seen in some of these other options, like Square and like Stripe. And one pro in particular, when I say pro, I'm talking about pros and cons. One pro in particular to PayPal is that if you are a small business owner, PayPal actually offers lending to you. They offer lending, they offer cash flow, not cash flow, but working capital to help you with your cash flow. PayPal offers, I think, in my opinion, very good, almost like a bank, very good lending options that are very attractive to small business owners. And how they're able to do that is by analyzing the revenue that's coming into the PayPal account. So PayPal can offer you some really great lending opportunities where you can get funding for your business just based off the sales that are coming in through your website. And that is a whole different experience than going to a bank and needing to provide the collateral that the bank requires.
Right.
So I would say if you're a growing business and you are getting sales on your website, if you have those sales processed by PayPal, that's going to open you up to some working capital opportunities where you can get lending from PayPal. Yeah. And I think that is very compelling in certain use case scenarios.
This is my question. Is PayPal easy to navigate?
You know what? That's very subjective.
Okay.
I am going to say, in my opinion, that PayPal is not as easy to navigate as something like Stripe or Square. I actually think Square might be the easiest to navigate. Stripe, I think, is a little more complicated. And I also will say that because PayPal does offer these additional incentives, as I said earlier, working capital, lending, etc., PayPal does tend to be much more strict in terms of security. Now, that's not to say the other processors are not secure. They are all secure. But I've encountered many people who have said that their email addresses or their accounts on PayPal have been blocked by PayPal, or PayPal has suspended their account due to perceived fraudulent activity, or maybe there's a case ongoing that PayPal is investigating related to whether it's fraud or whatever it is on the account, and until that has been resolved, you can no longer use the PayPal account. Things like that can be detrimental.
Right.
So, and I've seen people be very frustrated that they can't access their PayPal account, or their funds are frozen in PayPal because PayPal is doing some investigation on some. It can be a lot, and so, you know, I have to say, you gotta have to take the good with the bad a little bit.
Right.
They do have great incentives, but you got to make sure you stay in good standing. No funny business when it comes to PayPal.
Here's another good question. What role does SEO? What is that? Search engine?
Search engine optimization.
Optimization. Okay. What role does SEO play in driving traffic to my e-commerce site, and how can I optimize my content effectively?
That's a great question. That question, I think we could do 3 or 4 episodes just on search engine optimization.
Yeah.
If I were to kind of narrow it all the way down, I would say that it has a lot to do with your content. The words that you put, that you publish onto your website. The more accurate, the more descriptive, and the more compelling the language is on your website, that is going to translate better to search engine optimization, especially as our search engines use more of a natural language model. So for example, if you are selling shoes on your website, you want to be very descriptive about your products. You want to, if your shoes are made of leather, you want to make sure you say, we have the finest, genuine, authentic leather, grade A. I don't know if leather is graded, but I think it is graded. So grade A leather. Our shoes are manufactured in the United States specifically, so you might want to use language like that. Our shoes are perfect for professionals, for work situations. Using language like that that's very descriptive about the product in a natural way actually goes a long way to helping people find your website when they're searching on Google. Think about it. If I just had the thought today that I wanted to buy some nice shoes, I might, before I go to any particular website, I might just go to Google and I might just type men's leather shoes. Okay. And so Google is going to know that I'm interested in leather shoes for men, and Google is going to scour the internet and locate any relevant website that is offering shoes that are made of leather that are for men. So that means that in order to ensure that Google knows that your website is offering this product, you got to make sure that you're saying leather shoes for men on your website, so that Google knows when Google is crawling your website that this website has this particular product that can be provided or serviced to this particular customer who has this search inquiry. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Anything that you can do to make that process easier for Google is what search engine optimization is. So the right language to describe the products, giving your products titles that make sense for what someone might be searching for. For example, you know, if I had the shoe store, I might call my shoes professional work shoes. Professional leather work shoes for men, leather. I already said it. Professional leather work shoes for men, size, and then have all the sizes. I might give it a generic title like that because I want Google to locate this. Right. I don't want there to be any issues between that customer's interest and my product being shown as a possible solution to their interest. But if I were to give my shoes a name that doesn't have anything to do with the product itself, like let's say I called it I don't know, the horse shoe.
The horseshoe?
The horseshoe. Okay, I just made that up. But if I were to do that, then how does Google know that my product is going to be appropriate for this person's interest? Okay, so that's what search engine optimization is. And so you take that concept and distill it into every aspect of your website. The idea is you want to make it so easy for Google to know everything about your website based off of the words that are used, so that when people are searching, Google can find a solution on your website.
I have a question. This is my question, and if it's too long, then it's another show.
Okay.
I use Google, but what in the world is Copilot? Because it's been telling me to ask it for information.
Oh, wow.
Is that something you can explain real quick?
I can explain.
To me, because I'm having troubles with that.
I can explain maybe just a little bit about it. Copilot is a Microsoft-specific service. So the fact that you said Copilot to me means you must be on a Microsoft computer. You must be using Windows, something to that effect. Okay. So Copilot is a new AI-based service that's built into the Windows operating system to help you accomplish tasks. I think it's really cool, and I think all operating systems and computers are going to be going in this direction where there's more AI built into the system for us to interface with. But really what they're trying to get you to do is type your search into Copilot rather than into Google. That's what they're trying to do. That's what it's going to take a little while because you use Google.
Because I was scared of it because I didn't know what I said. What is this? It keeps, who is Copilot?
So they're gonna keep pushing that to you because they want you to over time stop using search engines. Actually, and they want you to use their AI on the operating system so that they can be in. It sounds a little scary, but so that they can be in direct control over the results that you're getting. And you can't blame them. That's business. They
competition.
But that's the reality. So well, actually, Tia, we're out of time.
Oh no! I had one more quick question.
That is what a great episode, I must say. So we've reached that time again, and I gotta say, I really appreciate Tia for being on the show and for sharing these incredible questions. What a wonderful discussion that we've had. And if you have any information about what we've been, if you have any questions about what we've been talking about on today's show, see the information scrolling below. You've been watching Small Business 21st Century in today's segment of Build Your Difference. Thank you for watching, and make sure that you make this week your best week ever.